Now, we are going to explain first the outline of our discussion. We will introduce to you the concept of phonology, its definition and its rules, or processes which are the assimilation, dissimilation, insertion, deletion, metathesis, strengthening, and next is phonics and allophones, which we will give you their definitions and examples. Next is the IPA in both vowels and consonants. And lastly, we will give you some examples related to Filipino consonants. Phonology is the study of how sounds are organized in basic national languages. Phonological rules can be classified by the kind of process. There are 7 rules that impose. First, assimilation, a phonological process in which a sound changes first syllable and every sound and give a forward and backward.
For example, in assimilation, the prefix "n", where sometimes it appears as "n" and others as "m", in front of bilabial words, "n" becomes "m". This also happens across word boundaries, like "in between" pronouns with an "m".
Second is dissimilation, a phonological process in which typical sounds changes to become less alike.
For example, in dissimilation, manner dissimilation where a stop becomes a fricative when followed by another stop. The word sixth is pronounced sixth.
Third is the insertion, a phonological process in which a sound is added to a word.
Example for insertion: voiceless stop insertion where between a nasal consonant and a voiceless fricative. A voiceless stop with the same place of articulation as the nasal consonant is inserted. In English, many say hamster instead of hamster. A P is added.
Fourth is the deletion, a phonological process in which speech sounds disappear from words.
Example for deletion: English is a fast or common speech language, so vowels can be deleted to make the word one syllable and easier to pronounce in a fast manner. Police becomes please, and friendship is said as friendship.
Fifth is the metathesis, a phonological process in which sounds switch places in the phonemic structure of a word.
Example for metathesis: to make words easier to pronounce and understand, letters are switched. 2 historical examples include Old English, brid and ax, becoming Modern English, bird and ask.
Sixth, strengthening or fortification, a phonological process in which a sound is made stronger.
Example for strengthening: aspiration is where voiceless stops becomes aspirated when they occur at the beginning of a stressed syllable. Top is said with aspirated H. Top.
Seventh is the weakening or deletion, a phonological process in which sound becomes weaker.
Example for weakening: the definition of flapping is before a stressed vowel and before an unstressed vowel where the sound is pronounced with articulation resembling a flap.
Ring. Phonemes are customarily written between slashes. A phoneme may have more than one variant, called an allophone.
Examples for allophones: think of the letter T and what kind of sound it makes in the word tar compared with stuff. It's pronounced with a more forceful, clip sound in the first example than it is in the second.
In English words, we use aspiration. This aspiration in which there is a brief puff of air and aspirated allophone.
Example of aspirated word is the word pool. This aspirated allophone of P has a brief puff of air. In Filipino context, we also have this phoneme, which is phonema in Filipino, and phonology, which is phonology in Filipino. We use it in similar way, but it differs in how we pronounce letters or words in Filipino context.
In learning phonology, we have what we call the IPA, or the International Phonetic Alphabet. IPA is an alphabetic system of phonetic notation based primarily on the Latin alphabet. It was devised by the International Phonetic Association in the late 19th century as a standardized representation of the sounds of spoken languages. The IPA is used by lexicographers, foreign language students, teachers, linguists, speech-language pathologists, constructed language creators, and translators. Now, let's proceed with the phonetic symbol and sounds, beginning with the vowel sounds. Repeat after me. This sound is in the father, hot, body. This sound is in the law, daughter, caught, air. This sound is in the said, head, says, e. This sound is in heat, be, receive, air. This sound is in the him, been, women, a. This sound is in the have, bad, at. This sound is in love, blood, trouble. This sound is in sofa, about. This sound is in book, could, pull, This sound is in burn, journey, worth, This sound is in through, blue, do, This sound is in so, no. Second, we have the consonant phonetic symbol and sounds. D. Repeat after me. D. This sound is in dine, redo. T. Repeat after me. T. This sound is in washed, untie. This sound is in volume, of. This sound is in stuff, enough. This sound is in big, saw. This sound is in pan, snip. This sound is in cap, exhibit. This sound is in choir, quiet. This sound is in thanks, filthy. This sound is in butter, this. This sound is in ice, song. This sound is in lazy, flowers. This sound is in polish, ocean. This sound is in beige, vision. This sound is in ancient march. J, j. This sound is in joy, grudge. Ha, ha. This sound is in happy, rehash. Y, y. This sound is in yummy, yes. Mm, mm. This sound is in mind, mumble. Mm, mm. This sound is in nine, no. Mm, mm. This sound is in ring, thanks. Ooh, ooh. This sound is in follow, lie. Woo, woo. This sound is in quiet, will.
And now, let us discuss the outline of another interesting part of linguistics, which is morphology in English and Filipino context. We will define morphology or morphologia. We also define morpheme or morphema, and there are two kinds of morpheme. The first one is the free morpheme or Malay morphema. The second one is bound morph or Malay morphema. Under free morpheme, there are two categories. The first one is the lexical morpheme or lexical morphema. The second one is functional morpheme or functional morphema. Under bound morpheme, there are two categories. The first one is derivational morpheme or derivational morphema. The second one is inflectional morpheme or inflectional morphema.
Now let's proceed with morphology. Morphology is the branch of linguistics that deals with word structure and with functional changes in the forms of words such as inflection and compounding. Now, with the morpheme. What is morpheme? Morpheme is the smallest unit of language that carries a meaning or grammatical function, maybe a word or not a word.
Morpheme, example, the word unforgivable has three morphemes. Un is a prefix, meaning not. Forgive, the root morpheme. Able, an adjective forming suffix. Every word will comprise of one or more morphemes. Other example, dog has one morpheme. When we add a plural marker s to the dog, it becomes dogs, and it has two morphemes. The dog and the s, which is suffix, plays a grammatical function.
There are two types of morpheme, the free morpheme and the bound morpheme. First, I am going to discuss the free morpheme. Free morpheme words can stand alone and work independently. And under the free morpheme, there are two classifications. First is the lexical, and the second is the functional. Lexical can be categorized into major lexical categories or word classes, such as the noun, the verb, the adjective, and the adverb.
Example for the free morpheme: cat, dog, car, tree. For the lexical morpheme: noun, the word answer; verb, the word speak; adjective, the word bright; adverb, the word tomorrow.
It constitutes open categories to which new members can be added.
When we add a new member, answer, it becomes answerable; speak, it becomes speaker; bright, become brightly; tomorrow, it becomes tomorrows.
The next is the functional morpheme. Functional morpheme expresses a limited number of very common meanings or words express relations within the sentence. May be parts of words or small but independent functional words belonging to the minor classes, such as the preposition, the article, demonstrative, conjunction, and the auxiliary.
For the functional morpheme, for the preposition, example, the word between; the article, the word the; demonstrative, that; conjunction, and; auxiliary, may.
The second type of morpheme is the bound morpheme. Bound morpheme, those which can ascend the loop and work independently, occurs only in combination with other morphemes or words.
Bound morpheme, for example, on, s, ear, ing, shun, li.
And under the bound morpheme, there are classifications. Affixes. Affixes added to a word or root of a word to change the meaning. The next is the prefix. When we say prefix, it's a letter or group of letters that is always placed at the beginning of a word.
For the prefix example, unnecessary, which necessary is the root word and un is the prefix. Other example, logical, restart, irregular.
The next is the suffix. When we say suffix, placed at the end of a word.
For the suffix, example, cleanliness, which ness is the suffix. Regularly, playing, player.
The next one is the circumflex. When we say circumflex, occur on both sides of the base. One part appears before the base and the second part appears after the base.
For the circumflex, example, and mindful, mind the root word, added the un prefix, the full is the suffix.
Further classifications of affixes are derivational and inflectional. When we say derivational, change the part of speech or meaning when combined with the root.
Derivational, for example, verb to noun, sing, verb, it becomes singer, noun. Noun to adjective, length, long. Adjective to adverb, happy, happily. Adjective to verb, creative, create.
The next is the inflectional. When we say inflectional, those morphemes that do not change part of speech or meaning, it indicates the syntactic or semantic relation between different words in a sentence.
Inflectional, for example, wait becomes waited. Dog, it becomes dogs. Play, it becomes playing.
Let us proceed in Filipino context of morphology. Ito ay tinatawag na morphologiya. Ito ay hamos sa dalawang salita, more na ibig sabihin ay anyo, at g na ibig sabihin ay koneksyon. Ito ang mga taghap na pag-aaral ng mga morphema o makabuluhang unit ng mga salita. Ano ba ang morphema? Ang morphema ay hangos sa katagang morpheme sa Ingles na kinuha sa salitang Greek morph na ibig sabihin ay anyo at eme na ibig sabihin ay kahulugan. Ito ay tinutubig na pinakamaliit na unit ng salita na may angking kabuluhan. Halimbawa,
Dasal, magdasal, madasalin. Ang salitang dasal ay mayroong isang morphema. Ang salitang magdasal ay may dalawang morphema, mag at dasal. Ginagamitan ito ng unlaping mag. Ang salitang madasalin ay may tatlong morphema, ma plus dasal plus in. Ito ay unlapi, ma plus salitang ugat na dasal at hulaping in.
may dalawang uri ang morphema. Ang unang uri ay tinatawag na morphemang malaya o mas kilala sa tawag ng salitang ugat. Ang uring ito ng morphema ay binubuo ng pangalan, panguri, pandiwa at pangabay kasama ng pangatnig na may sariling diwa at nakakatayo ng mag-isa. Sa ilalim ng morphemang malaya, ito ay may dalawang katangian. Ang unang katangian ay tinatawag na lexical na morphema. Ito ay mga salita na sinabukas na klase kagaya ng pandiwa, pangalan, panguri at pang-abay. Pwede ito dagdagan ng panlapi para makabuo ng bagong salita. Halimbawa,
Pandiwa, gaya ng salitang basa, ligo, kain, lakad. Pangalan, gaya ng salitang Maria, tao, Silya, susi. Panguri, gaya ng salitang ganda, hinog, sabog. Pang-abay, gaya ng salitang hapon, hindi, oo, baka.
Ang ikalawang katangian ng malayang morphema ay tinatawag na functional na morphema. Ito ay mga salita na saradong klase, kagaya ng pang-ukol, panghalip, at pangatni. Ito ay hindi pwede lagyan ng panlapi sapagkat ito ang pinakasalita o pinakabuod. Halimbawa,
Pang-ukol, gaya ng salitang kay, para kay, ayon kay, mga, sa. Panghalip, gaya ng salitang ako, tayo, natin, atin. Pangatnig, gaya ng salitang at, ngunit, kung, kapag, dahil, upang.
ang pangalawang uri ng morphema ay tinatawag na morphemang di malaya o kilala sa tawag na panlapi. Ito ay kinabit sa salitang ugat para makabuo ng isang bagong salita o anyo ng mga salita. Ano naman ang uri ng mga panlapi o anyo ng paglalapi? Ang unang anyo ng paglalapi ay tinatawag na unlapi. Ito ay salitang idinagdag sa unahan para makabuo ng bagong salita. Halimbawa,
Unlaping nag plus salitang ugat na dasal, nagdasal. Unlaping plus salitang ugat na asa, umaasa. Unlaping mag plus salitang ugat na aral, mag-aral. Unlaping mang plus salitang ugat na isda equals mangisda. At unlaping ma plus salitang ugat na ligo equals maligo.
ang ikalawang uri ng paglalapi ay tinatawag na diglapi. Ito ang panlaping isinisingit sa pagitan ng unang katinig at kasunod nitong patinig. Sa madaling salita, ito ay matagpuan sa gitna ng salitang ugat. Halimbawa,
Gitlaping plus salitang ugat na bili equals bumili. Gitlaping in plus salitang ugat na sulat equals sinulat. Gitlaping plus salitang ugat na punta equals pumunta. At gitlaping in plus salitang ugat na biro equals biniro.
pangatlo, ito ay panlaping tinatawag na hulapi. Ito ay matagpuan sa hulihan ng salitang ugat. Halimbawa,
Hulaping in plus salitang ugat na basa equals basahin. Hulaping an plus salitang ugat na gupit equals gupitan. Hulaping in plus salitang ugat na sulat equals sulatin.
pang-apat, ito ay tinatawag na pagbilaan. Ito ang tawag sa mga panlaping nasa unahan at hulihan ng salitang ugat. Halimbawa,
Hulaping ka plus salitang ugat na laya plus hulaping an equals kalayaan. Hulaping mag plus salitang ugat na mahal plus hulaping an equals magmahalan. Hulaping pala plus salitang ugat na baybay plus hulaping an equals palabaybayin.
panglima, ito ang tinatawag na tambalang salita. Ito ang dalawang magkaibang salitang pinagsama upang makabuo ng bagong kahulugan. Halimbawa,
Mga bata. Bola, mga bola. Kung sa English ay kadalasan dinagdagan ang suffix na s para maging plural, sa Filipino naman ay ginagamitan ng quantifier para maging plural ang salita.
at ang pang-anim ay tinatawag na inuulit. Ito ay inuulit ng salitang ugat. Halimbawa,
Araw-araw, gabi-gabi.
sa ilalim ng morphemang di malaya, ito ay may dalawang katangian. Ang unang katangian ay tinatawag na devotional na di malayang morphema. Ito ay mga salita na di nagbabago ng kategorya kahit dagdagan ng panlapi. Halimbawa,
Kain, pagkain. Ang salitang kain ay pandiwa. Kung dagdagan ito ng unlaping pag plus kain equals pagkain.
At ang pangalawang katangian ay tinatawag na inflectional na di malayang morpema. Ito ang mga salitang nagbabago ng kategorya kung dagdagan ito ng panlapi. Halimbawa,
Walis. Walisin. Ang salitang walis ay isang pangalan. Kung dagdagan ito ng unlaping mag plus walis equals magwalis. Ang salitang magwalis ay isang pandiwa. Bato. Batuhin. Ang bato ay isang pangalan. Kung dagdagan ito ng hulaping in, bato plus hin equals batuhin. Ang salitang batuhin ay salitang pandiwa.
Now, let me tell you the outline about syntax. First, I am going to define what syntax is. Second, we will proceed with sentence patterns, but I am going to identify what are the elements of a sentence, which are the subject, predicate, direct object, and indirect object. Lastly, the basic sentence patterns in Filipino context, which are the action, doer, receiver, and modifier. Second is the verb, subject, and object. And last but not the least, the subject, verb, and object. Next is syntax. Syntax is the grammatical structure of words and phrases to create coherent sentences. Under syntax, I am going to discuss about sentence patterns. But first, we must know the elements of a sentence. What are those? First is the subject. It is the doer of the action or the topic of the sentence. Next is the predicate. It states something about the subject. Third is the direct object. It receives the action done by the subject. Last is the indirect object. It precedes the direct object and tells to whom and for whom the action is done. And here are the 5 basic sentence patterns. First is the SID or the subject and intransitive verb. But what is the intransitive verb? Intransitive verb is a verb that is without a direct object. For example,
Maria cooperated voluntarily, wherein Maria is our subject and cooperated is our intransitive verb. Cooperated is our intransitive verb because aside from we don't have a direct object, it does not answer the question, where did Maria cooperated?
next is the STVDO or the subject, transitive verb, and direct object. Transitive verb is a verb that requires both a subject and direct object. For example,
The students help the barangay. The students are our subject, help is our transitive verb, and barangay is our direct object. It is our direct object because it answers the question where did the students help and it receives the action done by them.
next is the subject, linking verb, and objective complement or the SLVC. For example,
Robbie is the best guitarist in grade 8, wherein Robbie is our subject, is our linking verb, and guitarist is our complement. Like what I said earlier, linking verbs do not express action. Its purpose is to connect a subject to a noun or the complement. And guitarist is our complement because it renames Robbie.
linking verbs do not require an action. Its main purpose is to connect the subject to a noun or adjective.
He called the cashier beautiful. He is our subject. Called is the transitive verb. Cashier is the direct object. And beautiful is the objective complement. Beautiful is our objective complement because it describes the cashier, which is our direct object.
While complement is an adjective, noun, or pronoun that follows a linking verb. The word relates back to the subject. It can name or describe the subject. The fourth one is the STVDOOC. It's the subject, transitive verb, direct object, and objective complement. What is the objective complement? It is a noun, pronoun, or adjective which follows a direct object and renames it or tells what the direct object has become. Last but not least, it is the STDIODO or the subject, transitive verb, indirect object, and direct object. For example, Liza gave the children gifts. Liza is our subject. Gave is the transitive verb. Children is the indirect object. And gifts are the direct object. In Filipino context, our sentence patterns aren't usually terribly complex or difficult. They are somewhat distinctly different from those in English. And the most often sentence pattern sequence is action, the doer, receiver, and modifier. That is first, the verb is positioned followed by the subject or the performer of the action. Next, follows the object or receiver of the action, and finally comes the modifier. And here are the examples to illustrate a typical sentence pattern sequence in Tagalog. Number 1, uminom ka ng kape, which is uminom is our action, ka is our subject, and kape is our modifier. Next is the subject, verb, and object. This form is another structure common in the language, where the subject goes before the verb. Usually, this form is considered formal. Kumain ang aso ng buto. Kumain is the verb, ang aso is the subject, ng buto is the object. Ang aso ay kumain ng buto, wherein ang aso ang subject, kumain is the verb, ng buto is object.
Now, let us proceed with the semantics. But first, we have this outline. Definition of semantics. We will going to enumerate different semantic relationships, paraphrasing, entailment, inclusion, contradiction, lexical ambiguity, connotation, denotation, anomaly, polysemy, and homonymy. After that, we're going to give examples in Philippine setting and in English language. Let us define semantics. Semantics is a branch of linguistics and logic that deals with the study of the meaning of each sentences or passages. First semantic relationship would be paraphrasing. It expresses the meaning of something using different and less offensive words.
Paraphrasing examples. Sentence A, Jeff ate the pie. Sentence B, the pie was eaten by Jeff.
Next one is entailment, where the truth of one necessitates the truth of others. For example,
Entailment examples. Jack swims beautifully. Generally, entailment goes with only one direction. So while the sentence Jack swims beautifully entails Jack swims, the reverse is not true. Knowing merely that Jack swims, it is true, but does not necessitate the truth that Jack swims beautifully. Jack could be a poor swimmer. In Filipino context, ang aking ina ay mahusay magluto ng ulam, lalo na ang adobo. Ito'y nagpapakita na ang aking ina ay mahusay sa pagluluto. Ang kabaliktaran nito ay nagluluto ang aking ina. Ngunit, hindi nakasaad dito na siya ay isang mahusay na tagapagluto. Gayunpaman, maaaring hindi siya mahusay.
another is inclusion or hyponymy. It is a relation between two words explain the meaning of the word that include or complement the meaning of another word. For example,
The body, it can be your legs, arms, elbows, foot, or shoulders. In Filipino context, tahanan, maaaring nasa kusina, sa sala, o di kaya ay sa kwarto.
next is contradiction. Two contradictory statements joined together.
Contradiction examples. The kid is financially incapable to attend school, while I just graduated from my teaching profession. In Filipino context, ang kulay asul na damit ay walang kulay.
Next one, lexical ambiguity. It is ambiguity that some sentences exhibit when they contain words that can be interpreted in more than one way. Those words are either homonymous or polysemous words.
Lexical ambiguity examples. I bought a pen for my dog. The word pen can be a
cage that a dog can stay. And the pen can be the ballpoint pen we use in writing. In Filipino context, ang balat ng candy ay nakakalat. Ang salitang balat ay maaaring balat ng tao o ng prutas, o di naman kaya ay isang hayop.
Next one is denotation and connotation. Denotation is a straightforward dictionary definition, while connotation is an emotional input attached to a word.
Denotation and connotation examples. The word red can be a color or a symbolism of love. It can be a symbolism of war at times. In Filipino context, rosas, isang halaman, o sinisimbolo sa pag-ibig.
Anomaly, expressions that seems to be nonsense. Idiomatic expressions can be considered as an anomaly.
Anomaly examples. There is a mountain of dishes to be washed. In Filipino context, nakikita ko ang lungkot sa kanyang mga mata.
Polysemy, one word that has multiple meaning, same in spelling and pronunciation.
Polysemy. The word glass can be considered as glass of window, glass or eyeglasses, glass that we use to drink water. In Filipino context, katulad na lamang ng halimbawa na mayroon sa denotasyon at konotasyon. Ang rosas na maaaring isang halaman o simbolismo ng pag-ibig.
Last semantic relationship would be homonymy, relationship between words that has different meaning and pronunciation.
Homonymy examples. The children is now ready to present their Christmas present to everyone. Present can be a presentation, present can be a gift.
Today we'll be learning the branch of linguistics, which is pragmatics and the background of it, and also how pragmatics differs from semantics. And the most interesting part, which is pragmatics and Christian maxim, and lastly the example and the application of it in Philippine sentence. Pragmatics is a branch of linguistics concerned with the use of language in social context and the ways people produce and comprehend meanings through language. The term pragmatics was coined in the 1930s by psychologist and philosopher Charles Morris. Pragmatics has its roots in philosophy, sociology, and anthropology. Morris drew on his background in his book Sign, Language, and Behavior, explaining that the linguistic terms deals with the origins, uses, and effects of sign within the total behavior of the interpreter of signs. In terms of pragmatics, science refers not to physical signs, but rather to the subtle gestures, tone of voice, and body language that often accompany speech. Pragmatics versus semantics. Morris explained that pragmatics is different from semantics, which concerns the relations between signs and the object they signify. Semantics refers to the specific meaning of language. Pragmatics involves all the social cues that accompany language. Pragmatics focuses not what one people say, but how they say it and how others interpret their utterances in social context. This is said by Jeffrey Pinch in linguistic terms and concepts. Utterances are literally the units of sounds you make when you talk, but the signs accompany their utterances give the sound their true meaning. Pragmatics and Christian maxims. No matter what language we speak, when we hear a sentence, the first thing that we do, it is get the logical interpretation. We work the exact truth of what the other person said. We also know there is more to conversation than just word-for-word facts. There is consistent way our conversation should work, and we use our knowledge of those rules to go beyond what the actual person said and figure it out what it is they mean. So what rules do we have? We have cooperative principle. It is proposed by Paul Gris. It basically says things that are the right kind of things for the right combo once you're in at the time. This principle can be broken down into 4 conversations maxim. One is maxim of quality, maxim of manner, maxim of relevance, and quantity. These sound technical, but they have basic rules to guide ordinary conversations and you use them all the time without knowing it. So let's start with quantity, where one tries to be informative as possibly can be, not more so. Second one is quality. This one says that you should tell the truth and have enough strong evidence to back up what you're saying. Third one, you can have a quality conversation with someone if you think they're lying. Next, maximum of manner. This means that you should talk with people in the proper manner. Be clear, brief, and orderly, and avoids obscurity and ambiguity. And the last one is the maximum of relation. This is simple. What this is to be relevant and says things that are pertinent to discussion.
Pragmatics in action. The American Speech Language Hearing Association, or ASHA, gives example of how pragmatics influences language and its interpretation. In the first, ASH notes, you talk with a neighbor about his new car. He has trouble staying on topic and starts talking about his favorite TV show. He does not look at you when you talk and doesn't laugh at your jokes. He keeps talking even when you look at your watch and say, "Wow, it's getting late." You finally leave thinking about how hard it is to talk with him. In this scenario, the speaker is just talking about a new car and his favorite TV show. But the listener interprets the sign the speaker is using, not looking at the listener and not laughing at his jokes, as the speaker being aware of the listener's view, let alone his presence, and monopolizing his time. You have likely been in this kind of situation before, where the speaker is talking about perfectly reasonable, simple subjects, but is unaware of your presence and your need to escape. While the speaker sees the talk as a simple sharing of information, which is the semantics, you see it as a rude monopolization of your time, as the pragmatics. We can also apply this note in Philippine context. An example, you invited your friend over for dinner. Your child sees your friend reach for some cookies and says, "Better not take those or you'll get even bigger." You can't believe your child could be so rude. In a literal sense, the daughter is simply saying that eating cookies can make you gain weight. But due to the social context, the mother interprets the sentence to mean that her daughter is calling her friend fat. The first sentence in this explanation refers to the semantics, the literal meaning of the sentence. The second and third refer to the pragmatics, the actual meaning of the words as interpreted by a listener based on a social context.
Let me discuss to you the chronological sequence of my discussion about discourse. First is the definition of discourse according to Michael Foucault. Second is the types of discourse. There are 4 categories or models of discourse, which are narration, description, exposition, and argument. And lastly, I will give examples to the 4 models of discourse in a relationship to the Philippine context. What is a discourse? Defined by Michael Foucault, a French social theorist who developed a notion of discourse. Discourse refers to the ways of constituting knowledges, together with the social practices, forms and subjectivity, and power relations which inhere in such knowledges and relations between them. In simple terms, discourses are more ways of thinking and producing meaning, thus imposes that messages shouldn't be viewed as standalone, but instead, we should understand them clearly and universally. There are 4 types or modes of discourse, which are narration, description, exposition, and argument. The first one is narration. Narration could be simply defined as a storytelling. It usually has a chronological order, which are the beginning, the body, and the conclusion or the end. The events that have happened in the narration may be fictional or a made-up story, an imagination, or non-fictional, which it really occurred and is factual. And if the event that have been narrated actually happened, we give the writing another name, such as history, biography, autobiography, and newspaper report. A narration is driven from a personal experience, what you have heard, an imagination, and what you have seen or read. An example of this is Noli Me Tangere. It flaunts the Filipinos' experience in the 19th century and the gossips of your neighbors and of your friends that you tend to gossip to. The second one is description. Description is the one that tells what things are like according to our five senses. Nouns and adjectives can show what a person, a place, or a thing are like in their material aspects. But description often tries to do more than to enable the readers to visualize characters, settings, and actors. It may also evoke a mood or atmosphere, and this is aided by the use of simile and metaphors. There are two types of description. The first one is objective or ordinary description. It is absolute and factual. Examples of this is Elsa is traffic almost every day in a week, and I have a poor eyesight. The second one is subjective or artistic description. It enables the imagination of the reader or the listener. Or simply it creates imagination. Samples of this is Duterte has an iron fist and her eyes dazzle like the stars. The third one is exposition. Exposition is a kind of writing that is used to inform. The prefix ex in exposition comes from Greek through Latin, means out or away from. The root word position comes from the Latin verb pomere, means to place. So, translating it literally, exposition means to place out. Some major types of exposition are comparison, the comparing and contrasting, and causation, the cause and effect of a thing, the procedure, the temporal sequence, and problem solution, and enumeration, which it explains or the example of a thing. Exposition should be either factual or understandable, vivid and clear, and it should be straightforward. Thus, it has a chronological order, which are the beginning, the introduction of the concepts of the spoken or written piece, the body, and the conclusion, which is the end. There are uses of exposition. To inform or to express, it usually has to impart or the opinion of someone. Now, the next one is to give instruction. It is a tutorial or the procedure of something like a cooking show. Next one is to give directions. It is inevitable that someone tends to get lost. And the last one is to report or to explain. And the last mode of discourse is argument. The purpose of it is to convince through logic. An argument is based on the belief or opinion that the writer holds as true. The statement of this opinion is called thesis. To convince the readers that his opinions are true, the writer must build a case to support his thesis. A good example of a debate is balagtasan, a Filipino form of debate. A good example of an argument is balagtasan, a Filipino form of debate done by verse.